Welcome back everyone to another Weather at a Glance video. In today's video we will be discussing the final summer forecast for the summer season of 2021, all coming up in just a bit. Alright, and on our first slide, which is the precipitation outlook, we are first taking a look at our slightly below average region, which may come to a surprise to you as this area is already relatively dry throughout portions of the southwest here in the United States. And this is typically a very desert-like region, but as you can see, we are expecting slightly below average precipitation, so that is even drier than normal on top of those already dry conditions due to the La Nina pattern keeping things continuously dry down there. Now, the La Nina pattern is wrapping up, but the only problem is it is still sticking around into the summer months, probably until about August, until we switch to more of a neutral pattern. So that is going to really be affecting our weather down there in the southwest and up here in the northeast, really affecting those precipitation patterns, causing you guys to continuously stay dry down there, and maybe having an effect on those wildfires as we go later into the summer season. Alright, and on our next part of the slide, you can see that we have our slightly above average region of precipitation. And this means that you're not going to see too much of a change, but you will see some slightly above average conditions. So maybe some above average rainfall for portions of those Montana region mountains. You might see a little bit of an above average snowfall throughout the summer months, maybe the fall months, but this is really sticking to June through August. And for most of you, you won't notice much, but you may see a little bit of a rise in your precipitation and thunderstorm activity. Alright, in our final region on the summer precipitation outlook, you can see that we have above average precipitation for a widespread area of the Midwest, the northern Midwest, and portions of the Northeast. So this is a very widespread area, and this is because many low pressure systems will be dipping down, and this could cause a stormy pattern as well, with cold Arctic air causing these very strong cold fronts with all this humidity, which could cause some severe weather throughout Michigan, Ohio, and into the Northeast. So make sure you guys are staying in tune for that all summer long. This is where you guys start to see that severe weather and those thunderstorm patterns. Alright, as we move on to our next slide, which is our temperature outlook for the final summer forecast of 2021, you can see that we are starting off with our slightly below average region for temperatures. Now, this may come to a surprise to you as well, because the western United States is usually typically associated with hot weather. But with this La Nina pattern, this is keeping things a little bit more cool, kind of showing out a negative PNA pattern. So we could definitely see this throughout the consistent portion of summer 2021. And starting off right now, you've already noticed that we have been in kind of a negative PNA phase, and we are going to see a lot of these throughout the summer months as the La Nina is keeping things a little more cool throughout the west, the northwestern mostly. Now down in California, this will likely fade off into the summer months, so this is mainly sticking around until June, but you can mainly see this happening in that darker blue region where we move on next, which is the below average region, and this is where you're really going to be seeing those colder temperatures, maybe sticking to the 60s and 70s throughout your summer months, possibly even dipping down into the 50s for some of those days. So make sure to stay tuned for any possible frost advisories overnight, because as you go through those summer months and you get those cold summer nights, that could also affect your plants. So make sure you're listening to your National Weather Service and staying in tune for any frost advisories, as you might get some colder patterns here and there throughout the summer months. Alright, and as we move on, we are moving on to our slightly below or slightly above average region, and you can see this is a very widespread portion for much of the eastern half of the United States, and this is also caused by the La Nina pattern, and you can see that warmer air is going to be evecting into the eastern United States, and as that relative high pressure, which is going to keep the western half of the United States cooler, you can see that we have a lot of warm, moist air evecting in from the Gulf, and even into parts of all the way up north, where we're going to see those above average temperatures, and that is going to really affect a severe weather pattern, ultimately leading to the previous severe weather forecast for the summer, which we do not include in this forecast, but you can see that we are going to have an active severe weather pattern throughout those portions of Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, But relatively sticking down to the south, you guys are also going to be relatively warmer this year. So make sure with that excessive humidity and those above average temperatures, those slightly above average temperatures, you could be at risk for heat stroke during those outdoor events as everybody's starting to get back together and outdoors. It's really going to be in effect again. So make sure if you're at an outdoor event, make sure to keep watch for those humidity levels, especially for those of you up in the Northeast as well. You also have those risk for heat stroke with that humidity level too. It gets very humid in the summer months throughout the Northeast. So let's not hesitate and move on to our above average region. And this is a very widespread area as well. And as you can see, we are having a widespread area throughout the northern portions of this region. And this is basically because of the lower temperature average. So it might be concerning to you that the northern areas are in this above average region and not the southern areas, but this is mainly due to the fact that they have a lower temperature average. So for those of you who live down south, you'll pretty much be at the same temperature average, but that's just only slightly above average for you, whereas for those of you who live up north, you might be in more of an above average stage, as you might be 10 to even 20 degrees above average at times. So this is mainly why we're sticking to the above average region, more so than just a slightly above average region. So here in this above average region, you will be experiencing those effects from this warmer pattern that's going to be affecting the majority of the summer throughout summer season of 2021. So make sure you're prepared up in portions of Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, parts of Missouri, in the Dakotas as well as a small portion of northeastern Nebraska. So you are really going to be feeling the heat this summer, and make sure that you're prepared for that, because this is going to be more of a warmer summer for you guys, as well as humidity levels. The humidity levels will be very high this summer, causing a very stormy pattern and possibly some big severe weather events as we move into the month of July. All right, on to our final forecast, which is the general forecast for the summer season of 2021. We're going to be starting off in our northwestern region, which is the Kohler region. So basically here you're going to be seeing a lot of cooler weather, mostly in the 60s and 70s, and this may not sound as nice to you guys, but trust me, this is the best type of weather. You guys are going to be able to go outside, go swimming. It's going to be wonderful. Just even sit out on your front porch. It's going to be very wonderful, just nice, calm weather. It's going to be in the 60s and 70s, possibly dipping on the 50s, maybe causing some frost advisories overnight. But mainly, you guys are going to be really enjoying this weather, so it's going to be a nice break from past summers where it's been a little bit more warm. So I hope you guys all enjoy that. Alright, we're moving on to our warm and dry region. So as you guys know, you're going to be a little bit colder in California this year along the west coast. This does not mean down into the 60s and 70s. This just means a break from those really intense temperatures. So you're basically going to be staying very dry as this La Nina pattern kind of wraps itself up, and still continuously warm as well. So kind of a mild pattern. It's going to be very dry though, so make sure you're watching out for those wildfires. Don't do anything dangerous outside, like setting off fireworks near brush. Just keep a general idea of fire risks throughout the summer. Alright, we're moving on to the majority portion of the southwestern United States, and this is hot and dry. So sadly, you guys are not going to catch a break from that heat or those dry conditions. This is going to be a very dangerous situation for you guys down in the southwestern United States as this La Nina pattern wraps itself up. Very dangerous fire risk. So make sure throughout the summer months you guys are going to be you guys are all very well fire aware, but make sure that you aren't doing anything dangerous, such as setting off explosives near brush or setting anything on fire on high risk days of fire weather. So make sure that you guys are all staying in tune with your National Weather Service. The Storm Prediction Center does a wonderful job of giving you risks for fire weather, but definitely stay in tune, because this is going to be a very interesting fire weather season as well as last year. So might see something like last year again. So just hang in there. Alright, so we have our calm region. This is right next to our cold region. This is basically saying the same thing. Nice calm weather. 60s and 70s, possibly reaching up into the 80s. Not too stormy. You guys will see some storms there, but generally this is a more mountainous region. So basically just staying in the calm. So I'd say out of all of the weather in the United States for the summer season, you guys will likely have the best weather. Just nice, calm summer weather. It's going to be great for you guys up there. All right, and in our hot region, you guys will generally be staying in that hot region of the United States, and what that means is very hot temperatures and very hot conditions. Not as well as dry because there's humid air evecting from the Gulf, but it can be dry at times, and that can be grueling with that humidity if it does evect into the area. So drier conditions could spark up some wildfires, but mainly concerning is the humidity levels as those get really warm with those hot temperatures, because Texas, you do get very hot throughout the summer. So make sure you guys are following those heat stroke guidelines, because it is definitely a real thing, and you want to be very careful throughout the summer months so that you don't overdo it and you don't over exercise and potentially cause you or your family harm. All right, hot and humid. This is just like Texas, but we're going to see a lot of humidity down here in the south. This is going to be a very dangerous region. I want to advise you to take very much care of this summer because of the hot and humid conditions. Now, I noticed that I didn't put a tropical region in down from Texas up to North Carolina, and that is because I'm mainly not focusing on the tropical storms like I did last year. At this time, I'm still going to come out with my final tropical storm outlook, so that'll give you more of an advisory as to what is going to happen or what is likely to happen. But right now it's still kind of out there, and it's really kind of hard to make a final decision, so I'm not really going into it today. We're going to kind of work on that, make sure that you're completely prepared. I'm going to get a finalized opinion from other people as well, so that we can all come up with kind of an idea of what's going to happen. But it is starting to see kind of a complicated storm season for hurricanes, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that one for sure. But the hot and humid conditions are very concerning, so anyone in this region, you got to keep a very close eye because it's going to be very humid and very hot. So we're looking at wet bulb temperatures, which is a measure of the regular temperature and humidity combined and all the other stuff, wind, and we're basically looking at temperatures probably most of the time in the mid to upper 80s, possibly reaching into the mid to upper 90s. So make sure you're ready for that, because this could be very dangerous for all of you who like to get outside and do things during the summer months. Make sure you're all prepared for that. Okay, and here we go to our severe weather region. Now, this is the much anticipated region because all of you up there, I have a lot of people who live up in this region that do anticipate their severe weather. They like to see a good storm. So I do have good news for you. If you like to see a good thunderstorm, you're going to be going into a stormy pattern if you live up here, and you'll be able to see some good storms, some concerning storms at times, though, because of the different temperature regions. We're going to have very cold upper level temperatures, which could cause some larger hail. So now this is a very common thing up in the northern United States, but we really have to keep an eye on those hail levels, because especially with those very warm temperatures this year, the instability will be rising, causing further larger updrafts, and we could see updrafts at time up to 70,000 feet, capping out at 70,000 feet. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, because you could see some larger hail this summer, up to 2 inches maybe. It's always a possibility, so keep an eye on that. Alright, so this is our warm and wet region. It's going to be very warm and muggy in these regions, as well as rain showers. So thunderstorm showers are very possible. Sorry, not possible. They're very common here as well. And this summer, you're going to see a very stormy pattern coming through. So make sure you're ready for that. Likely not as much severe weather as the severe weather region, but you guys will see your fair share of severe weather and stormy patterns, so make sure you're ready for that. This is just like the warm and humid, but it's going to go through more of a stormy pattern with a lot of precipitation as those cold fronts move through, so make sure you're ready for that, and always be prepared for very warm temperatures. Alright, in our colder region, so this is just like our colder over in the western United States, but cold, just generally milder. You'll definitely be seeing some above average precipitation patterns up there. Definitely you're going to be up into portions of Maine, so upper New York, upper Vermont, upper New Hampshire, and pretty much all of Maine. You're going to be seeing a lot of precipitation this year, so make sure you're ready for that. Generally, you don't have a flood advisory during these situations, which you won't be seeing a lot of flooding conditions because of your mountainous like structure. But to those of you who are south of you, like Connecticut and Rhode Island and Massachusetts, you're going to be seeing some of those flooding conditions as everything kind of flattens out and the rivers lead down into the ocean areas. So make sure you all down in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut are all prepared for those flooding conditions, as a lot of precipitation is going to be hitting you guys up there. Okay, in our warmer region, so this is generally going to be a warm area, as we discussed before. Not extreme, but it is going to be on the warmer side, so a little bit, we have portions here that are above average temperatures and just slightly above average temperatures, so it's a very widespread area of warm temperatures, but generally you guys will be staying on the warm side. You'll have your fair share of storms as well, but generally staying on the lower side of the stormy levels, and just generally focusing on that heat. Sometimes that heat could be excessive, sometimes it could just be a little bit muggy up there, but much of the United States is going to be in a very warm state here, so we have to keep an eye on these warm temperatures. Alright, I want to thank you all for watching. Big thanks to our sources which we use on this channel, Pivotal Weather, where all the models that I use in the videos come from. So I used different forecast models and different statistics to analyze these forecasts that I created for you today. I would ask you to consider subscribing for more U.S. forecasts free of charge, and I would also ask you to consider following the Weather at a Glance official Facebook page for more inside information and complimentary personal forecasts when you message me on my Facebook page. Again, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.